everyone, my name is Elsa and welcome to another booktube video. This one is brought to you from the floor of my kitchen because I realised that in the evenings this is actually really good light in here. Today I'm doing a combined June balancing the books and July reading goals video because frankly the amount that I got read in June was terrible and it's not worth giving it its own video. So if I can consult my trusty little notebook where I keep track of all my reading plans and things, I'm going to go through these quite quickly because I talked about them a lot more in my last video. But in June, at the start of my video, when I filmed my June reading plans video, I had just received Crowfall and Wolfrain for review. I think I'd also just finished Wolfrain, or I was just about to. So yep, I read that one in June. That's fine. Didn't get Crowfall. I also was planning to read If Only by Melanie Murphy, and I did read that and I really enjoyed it, and I will be reviewing that one very soon, so look out for that. But Wolfrain and If Only were the only books that I got finished in June, which is pretty bad. And I finished both of them quite early in the month. There are a couple of things that I was so close to finishing and just didn't get to, which is kind of what happened. But anyway, so I've already failed on June. I was starting from the blank slate of 0, but having received 2 books would have meant that I was aiming to read 4 books in June, and I've only read 2. And then also I went to the HQ Summer Autumn Preview Night, and I picked up The Lost Ones by Anita, which is kind of a historical novel set during the First World War. It's a bit of a ghost story. I'm really excited about this. I can't remember when this comes out and it doesn't say on the book anywhere, which is a little frustrating, but this is a proof. So I'm hoping to read this one soon, but maybe not till slightly later in the summer. But those were 3 books that I got. I'm being a little sneaky because I got some in from the library and I got one that I was given from a colleague at work who works on another imprint, and I technically got those in June, but I'm counting them in July because I knew that I already had too many in the month, so we'll sneak those ones in past my counting system. There was 3 books received in June, which means that I should have read or put out 6 books. As I did only 2, that means that 4 are carried over to July. Then in July, I have had a couple of holds that I put on things that the library came in. So I got the physical copy of How Do You Like Me Now came into the library. This is by Bourne. I tried to read one of her YA books and didn't get on with it, so I gave up on that, but I've heard amazing things about her writing from a lot of my friends who really like YA books. This one is actually an adult book. It is about a young woman who wrote a book in her 20s. She's kind of an internet sensation type person, and she seemed to have her life together and everything, and then she's just turning 30 or something like that. She has a long-term boyfriend who isn't interested in getting married at all, and I think they actually break up quite early in the book. She just feels like she's kind of failing in her once promising career and things like that, and is about like how people view her now and how her life has changed from having this beautiful picture of what she thought it was going to be. So I'm really excited to get onto that one really soon. I also got Dear Mrs. Bird from the library as an ebook, so I'm reading that on my phone at the moment. It's the first ebook I've borrowed from the library, which is quite exciting. I've had it kind of on my wish list for a while, but I knew it was one that I would want to get from the library, or like if one of my friends happened to be giving away a copy. I knew that I wasn't sold enough on the idea to go out and buy it myself, but I've started reading that now and I'm really enjoying it. I've kind of prioritised it a bit because it will have to go back to the library quite soon, and then also I'm going to read How Do You Like Me Now pretty much after I finish that for the same reason. I also then found out today that the audiobook that I'd put on hold through the digital audiobook that I'd put on hold through my library of The Near Witch by Victoria Schwab, or V.E. Schwab, had come up. I am a huge fan of Victoria Schwab. I've not read all her books. I've read her Red London series, which is 3, and I've read This Savage Song and Our Dark Duet, which is a set of 2, and I loved both of those series. So I'm really excited to read this one. I think it might have been her debut novel. It's getting republished this year, I believe, or has just been republished. But I think that that's her first one that came out several years ago now, quite a lot of years. So again, I'm really excited to get to that one. And actually, because it's an audiobook, I think I might get through it a bit sooner, because there's bits of my commute where I'm walking or like changing trains and things and I can't be reading. And I tend to listen to podcasts in those periods. So I'll listen to an audiobook for a little while, and that will be quite interesting. I work at a publisher called Watkins at the moment, and while they do solely non-fiction books, they also own Angry Robot, who publish sci-fi and fantasy books and anything that falls within the broad sci-fi fantasy genre. One of their upcoming autumn books is called The Imaginary Corpse, and part of the description of it says that it is Toy Story meets Sin City, and that hook was just too much for me to resist. I think it's a really unusual pairing to say, so I just want to get in and read that. And finished copies arrived at the office the other day. They're a little early, it's not coming out for a couple of months. So I'm hoping to read that quite soon as well, just so I can partly let my colleagues know what I think of it, and also talk about it on here if I like it. So if we're keeping up with tallies, that is 4 books that I've got in July so far, and we're not even finished with the month, which means that I should be reading 8 books this month. And I also have 4 carried over from last month, so that is 12 that I ought to be reading this month, which is a crazy amount. Anyway, I'm going to quickly run through some of the ones that I'm aiming to read. We have Picnic in Provence that I've got a very tiny little bit left on. I've mentioned this before, so I'm not going to go into detail now, but I will talk about it when I do my wrap up after I've finished reading it. Then there is Dear Mrs. Bird that I mentioned. I'm about a 5th of the way through this one, but I'm getting through it quite fast. It's quite easy reading. It's set during World War II. Then once I finish that, I'm going to go on to How Do You Like Me Now. I'm hoping that'll be a fairly speedy read, but again, that one's going to be, I think that one's going to be tube reading crossing over into home reading, so I'll see how it goes. Then I'm going to be listening to The Near Witch, and again, like I said, I'll have the audio of that one quite a lot, so I think that I will get through that quite quickly, hopefully. I did get partway into The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman in June. I'm probably a little over a third of the way through, but not quite halfway, and again, I hope to finish this one quite soon. It's quite a quick read so far, so ideally I'm hoping to finish that by the end of next weekend. The book that has been a solid feature on my channel this year, Kushiel's Dart by Jacqueline Carey. I'm now past halfway, and I'm hoping to keep making progress in this. I'm not sure if I'll actually finish it this month, but yes, keeping going through that. And then I want to get into Crowfall. This is now published, so I want to try and get my review up as soon as possible, but I do have to prioritise those library books. So that is 7 books. I think that if I put any more on my list, it's going to get too intimidating. I do feel like already I know I'm going to end up carrying some books over into August to read. If you've missed my introductions to why I do this 1 book in, 2 books out system, it's because I have well over 100 books in this house of physical copies that I haven't read yet and want to read, and I just feel like I need to be strict with myself about cutting that down and not adding to them. So we'll see how that goes. So that is my brief June balancing the books and my slightly longer July reading plans. I'd love to know if you've read any of these, what you thought of them, and what you are planning to read in the month of July. I will talk to you soon. Bye!